Tonight, the new fallout over that security breach. U.S. war plans reportedly discussed over a messaging app. President Trump standing behind his team and downplaying the lapse as lawmakers from both sides of the aisle demand answers. Russia and Ukraine agree to a limited ceasefire in the Black Sea. And the incredible rescue following a plane crash on an icy lake. First, President Trump defending his embattled national security advisor, the man who reportedly added a journalist to a Signal app group chat with the White House inner circle, saying Mike Waltz is a good man and he will continue to do a good job. President Trump downplaying the issue, saying he doesn't believe they shared classified information. And on Capitol Hill, the fireworks. Democrats and some Republicans livid, demanding answers from national security officials. Martha Raddatz with late reporting. Russia and Ukraine agree to limit their attacks on each other, including a truce in the Black Sea after separate meetings with White House officials. But will it hold? Firefighters race to contain wildfires in the Carolinas. Dry conditions helping to spread the flames as record heat grips the West. Ahead of a new cross-country storm, Ginger Z timing it all out. The new twist in the tragic death of former New York Yankee star Brett Gardner's son while the family was on vacation. What we're learning tonight. Chilling new video of the deadly mass shooting at a New Mexico car show. Urgent new warnings for millions to delete their DNA data from the genetic testing company 23andMe after it filed for bankruptcy. Charges tonight in the terrifying smash-and-grab robbery of a jewelry store outside New York City. The stolen goods worth nearly $2 million. And America Strong tonight, the incredible rescue on the ice in Alaska and the community that came together to find a missing family.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us on this Tuesday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. We begin tonight with the explosive breach in national security unfolding in the nation's capital. Late today, President Trump downplaying that remarkable lapse and defending his top intelligence officials who reportedly discussed highly sensitive U.S. war plans in Yemen using an unauthorized messaging app and inviting a journalist to join their group chat by mistake. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe testifying before a heated Senate panel today. Democrats calling it incompetence, unprofessional, and, quote, an utter screw-up, insisting American lives were put at risk. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, says he was added to that chat before the attack on Houthi rebels, which included Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and other top officials. President Trump claiming no classified information was shared and attacking the journalists his team included in the group chat. Democrats calling for an investigation, saying if the chat was not classified, it should be made public. ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz leads us off in Washington.
Tonight, President Trump trying to downplay an extraordinary lapse in national security. Members of his inner circle, including Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, reportedly discussing highly sensitive U.S. war plans on a commercial messaging app. All while a journalist says he was reading the messages in real time.
There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use.
Trump defending his national security advisor, Mike Waltz, who Jeffrey Goldberg, editor of The Atlantic, said apparently inadvertently added him to the group on the Signal app.
He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job.
Goldberg says Hegseth shared operational details of the U.S. strikes on the Iran-backed Houthis earlier this month, including precise information about weapons packages, targets, and timing. Trump today asked if Waltz made a mistake.
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
Yes, sir. I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
Tonight, Waltz spoke out on Fox News.
I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
Hegseth overnight denied sharing sensitive information about the attack.
Nobody was texting war plans. And that's all I have to say about that.
But Goldberg saying that's simply not true.
No, that's a lie. He was texting war plans.
The hearing will come to order.
On Capitol Hill today, senators grilling two top cabinet officials who Goldberg says were part of that chat group, CIA Director John Ratcliffe and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard.
I think this is one more example of the kind of sloppy, careless, incompetent behavior.
Georgia Senator John Ossoff suggesting the lapse could have put American troops at risk.
They're talking about the timing of U.S. airstrikes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and therefore the timing of sending U.S. air crews into hostile airspace, correct?
Yes.
So the attack sequencing and timing and weapons and targets you don't consider should have been classified?
I defer to the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Council on that question.
Despite the administration's insisting war plans were not shared, some Republicans today not convinced.
Yeah, that's
criticizing the reporter.
That's baloney. I don't think they ought to just be honest and own up to it.
President Trump says an FBI investigation is not necessary. But as much as President Trump and his national security team want to put this behind them, many on the Hill are not buying it and are pressing for accountability. Whit?
Martha Raddatz for us tonight. Thank you. Moving on now to the new developments of the U.S. effort to end the war in Ukraine. Talks underway in Saudi Arabia. Both Ukraine and Russia agreeing to limit their attacks, including a truce in the Black Sea. Let's get right to ABC's senior national correspondent, Terry Moran. And Terry, still a lot of details need to be worked out here.
That's right, Whit. This is a limited ceasefire, and there are significant doubts already about whether or not it can take hold. But this is the first real step towards peace in the brutal 3-year-long war. And under the deal, Ukraine and Russia have agreed to halt attacks in the Black Sea, where Russia's Navy has been battered and Ukraine's ports have been hammered. In addition, the two countries will finalize, they say, a deal to halt attacks on each other's energy infrastructure as well. Russia says this deal, however, will go into effect only when sanctions on its agricultural exports are lifted. The U.S. says they will try to help with that, but that deal would likely require the agreement of the European Union, and that's going to be hard to achieve right now. So still a lot of uncertainty, but a good step.
Something to watch closely, Terry. Thank you. Back here at home, the wildfire emergency in the Carolinas. Mandatory evacuations ordered in parts of North Carolina. At least 3 large fires burning near Asheville. And South Carolina declaring a state of emergency because of the Blue Ridge fire. Here's ABC's chief meteorologist, Ginger Z.
Tonight, families in Polk County, North Carolina are on edge as multiple large wildfires continue to burn out of control.
Is everyone helping everyone else?
Esther Albert hosing down her rental property just a few hundred yards from firefighters trying to tamp down the smoldering fires.
The hope is that we, eliminate as much of the fuel for the fire as possible, and that hopefully it doesn't take the buildings.
Helping to fuel the fires, millions of dead trees knocked down by Hurricane Helene last year. In South Carolina, a state of emergency is still in place as the Table Rock Complex fire burns through Pickens and Greenville counties. The area got a little much-needed rain Monday, but that also kept firefighting aircraft grounded. Asheville is still 4 inches below average year-to-date for rainfall.
And Ginger here joining us with that forecast. And Ginger, you're also tracking those wildfires and the record heat in the West.
Yes, so we've still got red flag warnings for parts of Georgia, South Carolina, and western North Carolina tonight. The relative humidity has been below 20%. That's part of the problem. But the winds have been kicking 30, 35 miles per hour. Now that's going to happen again tomorrow afternoon. After the sun comes up, the winds start back up. And then by Thursday, when we are there in Asheville for Asheville Rising, a big event on GMA, the winds will subside a bit, but it is going to be really cold that morning. Very different from what's happening out west. Today, Dallas had their first 90 of the season about a month early. And you'll see in the Pacific Northwest, records fall again tomorrow from Seattle right through Idaho, parts of Wyoming too, and Salt Lake City could do it. Then we'll break that up with the next low pressure system. Severe storms possible in the Pacific Northwest and severe storms possible from Little Rock to Indianapolis and other places this weekend. Whit.
And we know you'll be tracking it on GMA. Ginger, thank you. Now to a new medical report raising more questions about the unexpected death of former Yankee star Brett Gardner's son. Authorities in Costa Rica ruling out asphyxiation as a cause of death, contradicting earlier findings. Gardner and his family were on vacation at a resort. Sources saying they'd gone out to eat at a restaurant, some later falling ill. Here's ABC's Trevor Alt.
Tonight, a new twist in the investigation into the sudden death of the son of former baseball star Brett Gardner. A Costa Rican source close to the investigation tells ABC News the family went to dinner last Thursday at a restaurant near their resort. Upon returning, multiple family members fell ill and were treated by a medical team at the resort. But 14-year-old Miller died in his sleep Friday morning. Authorities initially believed he may have died from asphyxiation, but they're now ruling it out, instead looking into the possibility the teen may have been allergic to the medicine he was given. Officials now awaiting an autopsy.
During the autopsy, often toxicology reports as well as other studies are done to help get to the bottom and clarify exactly what was the cause.
But Costa Rican police say the autopsy could take months to complete, citing a backlog from the country's high number of homicides. The family was staying at the Arenas del Mar beachfront and rainforest resort. The hotel says they are fully cooperating with the investigation, telling ABC News the hotel staff dispatched a medical team immediately, including a licensed doctor, which arrived to handle the emergency situation.
Whit, Costa Rican police say this is a cause of death investigation, and they did note at this time they do not believe this death is suspicious. Whit.
All right, Trevor Alt, thank you. Tonight, dramatic new images emerging of the deadly mass shooting at a crowded park in New Mexico. 3 people were killed, more than a dozen wounded in the raging gun battle. A warning, the video is disturbing. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
Oh my God. I just witnessed a murder.
New video tonight showing the full scope of the chaos in Las Cruces, New Mexico, when police say multiple gunmen opened fire at an unsanctioned car meet, killing 3 and wounding over a dozen. That barrage of bullets rattling the night last Friday after an argument between 2 groups of people escalated into a gun battle. Police body camera video rolling as officers treat multiple victims, including a woman who was shot in the neck.
Hands up. They're going to be okay. I need you to calm down, okay? Okay, breathe.
A flurry of chilling 911 calls pouring in.
There's multiple gunshots. There's a car meet where people got shot.
Hello? He's not Hello? Breathing. This is 911. We're administering CPR.
Police recovering 59 shell casings from multiple weapons, some of them stolen. Highlighting scenes like this where men use the lights on AR-style rifles for the visual effects. 20-year-old Tomas Rivas and 3 minors charged with murder, one of them just 15 years old. And New Mexico's governor said she would call back the state legislature for a special session to address the soaring crime rate in the state. And just in Las Cruces alone, violent crime has spiked 46% since last year.
Alarming numbers. Matt Gutman, thank you. Another story we're following tonight, that gunman who killed 23 people during a racist attack at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, has been offered a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. Patrick Cruces, already serving 90 consecutive life sentences after pleading guilty to federal hate crimes. After meeting with the victim, state prosecutors are now offering to take the death penalty off the table to avoid a long, drawn-out process and close the case. Now to an urgent warning for millions of Americans after the genetic testing company 23andMe filed for bankruptcy. New York's Attorney General is raising concerns about security, urging everyone with an account to delete their data. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, New York Attorney General Letitia James is joining a chorus of voices warning millions of users to delete their data and destroy DNA samples held by 23andMe. It comes after 23andMe declared bankruptcy, raising concerns over whether the genetic testing company can protect its customers.
This bankruptcy announcement is certainly a privacy nightmare for consumers. DNA data is some of the most sensitive data that any of us ever create about ourselves.
What does DNA even stand for anyway?
For nearly 20 years, people trying to trace their ancestry and susceptibility to hereditary diseases have been sending 23andMe DNA samples. People like Janie Deck.
I want answers, and I think it would only be equitable and fair that they tell us exactly what's happening with their information.
23andMe says there are no changes to how we store, manage, or protect customer data.
With 23andMe, account holders can log in, delete their data, and request destruction of their DNA. Any problems? Call your state attorney general's office.
Aaron Katursky, thanks so much. News tonight about the American economy. Consumer confidence slipping for the fourth month in a row amid concerns about inflation and President Trump's tariffs policy. The Consumer Confidence Index dropping more than 7 points to 92.9. That's the lowest it's been since January 2021. When we come back, the doctor in Hawaii accused of trying to kill his wife while they were both on a hike. A quick-thinking trooper in Kansas saves a 6-year-old from an alleged kidnapper. And 2 men are charged in a brazen smash-and-grab robbery caught on camera. Thieves using sledgehammers to steal nearly $2 million worth of merchandise from a jewelry store. Next tonight, federal prosecutors charging 2 men in a brazen smash-and-grab robbery outside New York City. The alleged thieves using sledgehammers to gain access to a store, grabbing jewelry, diamonds, and watches worth nearly $2 million back in December. The suspects were later arrested in New Jersey. Prosecutors say they took photos of themselves holding large bags of cash, the men in court today. A doctor from Maui is now under arrest, accused of trying to kill his wife on a hiking trail on Oahu. Police say Gerhard Koenig attempted to push his wife off the trail and struck her in the head with a rock. She was hospitalized in critical condition. Police say charges against Koenig are pending. When we come back, a pitch for the record books, a strike that made it from the mound to the plate faster than any throw ever before. To the index now, a massive sinkhole opening up suddenly in the middle of a busy road in South Korea. The sinkhole first swallowing a car, a man on a motorcycle unable to avoid the giant hole. The man and his bike falling in, concrete and dirt continuing to fall. The body of the motorcyclist was recovered 17 hours later. The person in the car survived and was rushed to the hospital. A Kansas state trooper is being hailed a hero for rescuing a 6-year-old girl. Officials say that during a traffic stop, the trooper arrested a man who had an outstanding warrant for allegedly kidnapping the child. The trooper was then able to calm the girl and get her to tell him her real name. Authorities say the girl had been with the man for over a month while he was on the run. Tonight, a pitch for the record books. The University of Tennessee's softball standout, Carlin Pickens, firing a strike in Monday's game, clocking in at 78.2 miles per hour. That's a new NCAA record. A previous record of 77 miles per hour stood for nearly 13 years. Pickens said later she had no idea when she threw the pitch that she had made history. Good for her. When we come back, the amazing rescue on the ice and the community that came together to find a missing plane before it was too late.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Librela, a new era in treatment.
Finally tonight, America Strong and Miracle on Ice, how a family survived a plane crash into an icy lake with the help of first responders and volunteers. Tonight, the incredible rescue about 50 miles away from Anchorage. On this remote frozen lake, you see it. That is a small plane that had gone missing the night before in frigid temperatures. A father and his 2 children on board. With no signal coming from the emergency transmitter, the National Guard, Alaska State Troopers, the Coast Guard, and Good Samaritans all urgently searching. And then, late this morning, one of those Good Samaritans, a pilot, spotting the plane.
Saw the wing up there. It broke my heart because I know what happens when airplanes break through the ice.
The ice soft. You can see the plane sinking. And those 3 dots are the man and his 2 children huddled together, stranded on that wing for 12 hours. Pilot Dale Eicher took the photos.
The fact that the community pulled together, it was incredible to be a part of it and to find him.
They'd learned the family had made a crash landing. They were eventually safely rescued and taken to a local hospital. And tonight, grateful for those who saved them.
I could see the ice over the lake that's up there at the moraine at the toe of the glacier. And I could see kind of a dark spot, and I could see that there's 3 people on top of the wing. It was really good to see.
Wow, the community coming together. What a moment. Thanks so much for watching tonight. I'm Wade Johnson in New York. I'll see you on GMA in the morning. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.